And we're live. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. It is Friday. We made it to the end of the work week. Finally, huh? How about that? Congratulations. Dave Guerra here. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us right now. That's it. This is Let's Have a Chat About Leadership for Friday, April 17, 2020. I'm your host, David Guerra, as I just said. Let's Have a Chat About Leadership is the show where I remind you that everyone is a leader or a future leader. Don't forget that. Either a leader or a future leader, and that's just what happens. So today it's Friday, and that means it's Forbes Friday, and we're going to talk about carbonation is about to burst. Get it? The bubbles, carbonation is about to burst thanks to COVID-19. Yeah, I stumbled across this morning on the website, and it's like, this is really interesting. It's a different aspect of how things trickle down or fizzle up in this case, and one thing causes another thing to happen, which causes something else to happen. So it's just one of those catastrophic chain of events at Forbes.com. Chloe Sorvino is the author. She's in the food and drink section, the business of what we eat and how it's made. And today at 9:18 Eastern time, the article is titled "Coronavirus to Burst Another Bubble?" ? Carbonation shortage threatens seltzer, beer, and soda. Yikes, oh my. Soft drinks and beer makers are scrambling for access to CO2, carbon dioxide, a key ingredient in the carbonization used to make their products after coronavirus shutdowns have closed off their access to the chemical, the CO2. That's right, carbon dioxide, not monoxide, carbon dioxide, CO2, right? CO2 emissions sound familiar? Okay, so here we go. Quote, "The supply is rapidly deteriorating," end quote, says Jeff Cooper, president of the Renewable Fuels Association, which represents the ethanol industry. Ethanol, alcohol, ethanol? Okay. "Absent of some intervention to keep these facilities running, it will further deteriorate. We're on the verge of something fairly disruptive. It's going to be hard to come by." And they're talking about CO2. The coalition of associations from beer and meat packers, which use it for slaughter and refrigeration, sent a letter to Vice President Mike Pence on April 7, 2020, expressing strong concern about the shortage and asking for government intervention as ethanol plants were forced to close in droves due to the coronavirus crisis. CO2 production at ethanol plants, which produce carbon dioxide as a byproduct from the fuel production, was down 20% at the time. Production is now down 30%. In the past 2 weeks, suppliers have started breaking contracts and preparing for shortages as 5 more ethanol plants have either closed or significantly reduced output. Of the 45 U.S. ethanol plants that sell carbon dioxide, 34 are closed. That leaves what? That's right, 9. While other sources from ammonia plants and oil refineries are also declining due to the crisis. A serious crisis will hit in May without government help, says Rich Gottwald, the CEO of the Compressed Gas Association. Within the next 4 weeks, he expects production to reach a more than 70% shortfall. Quote, "It continues to get worse," Gottwald says, who adds that he is hopeful after recent discussions with the federal government. "There will be shortages. The entire food industry understands the challenge now. Everything is so interconnected." The article continues, "The bigger companies will fare better, but it has independent producers like Darren Ezra scrambling." The CEO of manufacturer Power Brands, which spent 15 years consulting on formulations and ingredient sourcing used for new launches at companies such as Pepsi, Starbucks, Gatorade. For the past few weeks, his time has been spent securing CO2, normally an abundant commodity, from new sources and even overseas market. Quote, the main ingredient for most beverages in America is in very bad shape," he says Ezra. "I told my plant managers to fill out every single tank that they can find and try to find new sources because we expect it to go from bad to maybe a serious problem. If it gets worse, well, there goes your White Claw." Sorry about that, but I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. "If it gets worse," he says, "that means that a lot of carbonated soft drinks will simply not be produced, which means the shortage will threaten some of the hottest parts of the $28 billion carbonated drinks market, including sparkling water and hard seltzers, which have surged in recent years amid a popularity boom. Spindrift and, there it is, White Claw declined to comment over whether they are planning for a shortage or if production will be impacted in the future. LaCroix, owned by a publicly traded company, sources from a number of national suppliers and says it does not anticipate a supply issue. The beer industry uses 14% of the CO2 produced in the country. Bob Pease of the Brewers Association, the CEO of the Brewers Association, says they first started worrying about the shortage earlier this month. Then, when a member notified the organization that a CO2 supplier had suddenly broken the contract and would only be able to deliver half of the expected order. Prices then went up 25% after that. Now, that deal is the norm for most craft brewers, he says. That certainly got our attention. No CO2, no beer, no bottom line. This is an issue that has come up really quickly on us. It is the last thing my members need, and with the collapse of the hospitality industry, well, that's the last thing they need, especially with that collapse. So big producers can often recapture some of the CO2 they use with their pricey machinery, but 99% of craft brewers don't have the capabilities, while most independent beverage brands rely on contract manufacturers that are also without the means of Pepsi, or Coca-Cola. Because of that, small food and beverage business will likely be hit the hardest. LifeAid Beverage CEO Orion Mellahan says he first asked his contract manufacturer earlier this month to find out if they thought it would be a problem for his line of functional drinks. All of them are carbonated. In fact, the factory has decided to breach its exclusive contract with its longtime carbon dioxide supplier to get into the business with a backup. He adds that some industry experts expect there will be some rationing for brands at our scale and emerging brands. Quote, it would have catastrophic implications, says Mellahan, who founded LifeAid in 2011. There's already a can shortage that's been with us for 18 months. Just as we thought we were coming out of that, the CO2 shortage hits us out of left field. We're dodging so many balls. And there's more to this. And folks, yeah, if you're a Coke addict, Coca-Cola addict, there we go. If you're a Coca-Cola addict, Pepsi addict, Fanta, I'm orange Fanta guy here. I mean, I like my beer too, but there's something you can do, and it's something to look out and start brewing at home, brewing your own beer at home. And guess what? There is no CO2 needed. You don't need that machine where you push in the little CO2 cartridges and it carbonates your beverage. No, you can create your own beer. It's going to take about 2 weeks. But if you start now, on top of the shortage, by the time it actually functionally hits you and you start feeling it, you would have already had your supply of beer ready to rock and roll, all canned up bottles. So again, there are solutions out there. So this might be the best time to go ahead and place an order, which I'm about to do, because you never know. Never know. And if that's the case, they also do root beer. So maybe this might be the time to actually do your own in-home craft root beer and develop your own. But again, this is just one of those things that as businesses go, you start looking at how else is this going to impact my business? Obviously, the immediate customer in the store impact, the retail, the hospitality business, that company, that face-to-face business was impacted right away. Then it starts trickling down. So, it's one of those things that what do you do? How do you adjust for it? Well, you got to be looking over the horizon. You've got to be aware that, yes, there might be a problem in the near term, short term, midterm, but in the long term, what is your solution for the long term? Because guess what? You might not be able to get the soda you want, but have you ever brewed your own root beer? I'm talking about root beer or ginger beer or sarsaparilla or regular beer. And it comes in many flavors, many, many different flavors. And again, if you like more the ale, the pale ale, the IPAs, the darks, the Bock beers, lagers, lights, porters, guess what? You can do it and you can get it done on your own. You can do it on your own. So 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, sometime in May, coming into the summer, you've got beer when everybody else is scrambling. Something to think about, looking over that horizon. And that's what this is all about. It's forcing you to stop and look at what else is over the horizon. What else is going to impact this? I know that yeast is starting to become an issue. Yeast for like baking, not for brewing your own beer. That's a separate type of yeast. But again, you can order that. Might want to do your own beer. might want to bake your own breads, might want to make your own cheese. And it's not that difficult, folks. It's not that difficult. What you really truly need is a gallon of milk. And then the other items, a little goes a long way with the other two items that you need. But again, it's preparing yourself, not just in food, but in other businesses, other aspects. People are taking their yoga business straight online and not losing customers, actually gaining customers, because that is technically one of the ones you can do. The people that never wanted to go to a yoga class, oh, I don't want people looking at me. Well, guess what? They're now attending the yoga class they never wanted to go to face, but they're doing it. The spin classes, the the Peloton, all of those. Again, they're getting more customers because, well, there's the people that never wanted to go to spin class. Now they're attending spin class and they're doing it over their phone. So there you go. Again, it's about thinking the solution. Think first, identifying the problem, what the problem is lacking, and how you can address the problem, and then you move over from there. And you make your adjustments, and you identify the problem. You observe. You orient yourself. Say, I'm going to solve this problem, and this aspect of the problem I'm going to solve. And then you decide on it, you act on it, and you execute. And then once you've solved that, you can shift over to the next one. So trust me. Bake your own bread, get some cheese, make your own beer, you're good to go. You're good to go. Make your own root beer, you are good to go. But again, it's keeping an eye on what's going on around you. Again, a 360-degree swivel all the way around, and it probably won't be as bad as these organizations are making out to be, because again, they're filling orders on a large, grander scale, but it doesn't mean you can't bring it home. So bring it home. Bring it home. Listen, it's Friday, so something to think about. Something to think about over the weekend, and there's plenty of resources out there. There's plenty of ways you can do your own stuff, create your own beer, brew your own beer, be your own brewmaster, do what it takes, take care of yourself, take care of what is important to you, look at what's important to you, and solve the problems as they come your way. Because again, these are those times when we need to be looking outside the box. These are those times we need to be taking care of ourselves before we can think about taking care of others. This is that time. We're here now. It's done. It's not going to go away anytime soon. So it's up to you to come out ahead, or you get what you deserve. Listen, it's Friday. I want to thank you for watching all week. If you've been watching post, I do appreciate it. If you've been watching it live, I greatly appreciate you watching live. I thank you for your time. Have a great weekend. I'll talk to you on Monday. Take care. Take it easy. Dave out.